guys. So, still on bed. But that's because I'm studying. Okay. So, I've made up my mind. If I can get situated, I am totally just going to go through this with y'all as I go. So, these are test taking tips. I have 2 pages. So, this is my test taking tips that I got straight from the book. So, I'm just going to go ahead and share this with you guys. I guess it would work on any test you ever take. I don't know. This says it works on this test. So, there's 2 types of tests you can take, the paper test or the computer test. Odds are, if you're like me and you're going to take it to get, like you're not in high school and you're going to take it, it's going to be a computer test. So, both tests are multiple choice though. So, yay! Yay for multiple choice! Okay, so only 4 of the 9 I'm just going to start reading them off. Oh, excuse me. Only 4 of the 9 subtests are used to compute your Armed Forces Qualification Test. I want to say Air Force Qualification Test all the time, but it's Armed Forces Qualification Test. Those are word knowledge, paragraph comprehension, arithmetic reasoning, and mathematics knowledge. Okay, so standard scores, the majority score is between 30 and 70. So 30 is like, you're not really doing that great. 70 is like, hey, kind of doing really, really awesome here. A score of 50 is the average score, and 60 or more is considered above average. Then you have the Air Force, see, I did it again. Armed Forces Qualification Score requirements. I did mine strictly for the Air Force. This book is for Air Force, Navy, Army, National Guard, and Marines. I believe it has Marines. But anyway, it has all that in there. So, again, I just did mine for the Air Force because that's the branch I'm wanting to join. But, I mean, if you're wanting to join another branch and you're watching this and you want me to get this little tidbit of information for you out of this book, I'd be happy to do that too. But the Armed Force Qualification Score requirements for the Air Force is a high school diploma. You have to score a 36 on the ASVAB to get in. Or with a GED, you have to score a 65 to get in. And as you can see, I have this part here highlighted and this part here highlighted. This part doesn't really matter why I highlight. This part here does. So I wanted to point this part out to y'all. It says the Air Force allows less than 1% of its enlistees each year who have a GED instead of a high school diploma. That is one reason, if you've watched my previous videos, you will see why I am just so adamant about getting an actual high school diploma. Okay, so these are just random standard test taking tips. Read the directions carefully. You want to make sure, like if it says this paragraph is for questions 4, 5, and 6, you want to answer them for 5, 6, and 7. So make sure you read that carefully. Make sure to understand the question completely. Like if it says, what's 3 times 2 versus what's not 3 times 2. You can overread that. I was trying to remember exactly how I had it in there. Okay, so on the math subtest, be especially careful to read the symbols correctly. Make sure you understand the terms being used. Choose the answer. And this isn't really math. This is, I mean, I guess it could be more math. I don't know. This is general. Make sure to choose the answer that is most correct, because I don't want you doing a lot of them. It's most correct. These are, in case you have to guess, these are the conundrum, as they called it. This is if you have to guess on the questions. If you have to guess if you have to guess on more than one question on the test, always choose the same answer unless you can narrow it down. Then make an educated guess. So let's say for that first one that you have to guess on, you have no idea and you choose B, All the other ones you have to guess, choose B. It's going to kind of up your chances just a little bit. Unless you know for sure it is not B. If you know 100% for sure it's not B, use your educated guesses. Usually an answer that has always, all, everyone, never, none, or no one is incorrect. If two choices are very similar in meaning, neither of them is probably the correct answer. If two answers can contradict each other, one of them is usually correct. The longer the answer, the more likely it is that's the correct answer. Look for words like in many cases or frequently. That's letting you know, hey, this happens more often. This is test takers kind of telling you this is the correct answer. There's always one answer that isn't even close to being correct. Don't eliminate an answer based on the frequency of that answer coming up. That's basically saying if you've chosen B for the past 5 answers, don't assume that B is going to be not it just because it's going to be the 6th time. And never change your answer after you have picked it. Especially if, like, the only time you should do that is if you know 100% certain that that is going to be the wrong answer. Now, these are on to more study tips. These have nothing to do with guessing. This is like when you're at home studying for your ASVAB. Reduce the distractions. Make sure you're not in a room where there's going to be a bunch of screaming kids, a bunch of people coming in, pets, things like that. It's kind of really hard in my house because I have a cat and a dog. I live with my mom, my aunt, my cousin, and we live right off, like I said, the interstate. So it's really loud here, but I try to keep it down. Keep study breaks to a minimum. A few minutes every hour, that's a good time to take a break, long enough to go use the restroom or get a drink of water. It suggests you study alone. If you have a friend that's wanting to join the military with you, y'all can occasionally meet up and do brainstorming, but normally you want to do it by yourself. Concentrate on subject areas that need improvement. Practice the actual act of test taking. Take a practice ASVAB test 1 week before the actual ASVAB. Then on test day, eat a light meal. Try to eat proteins. Get exercise the day before and the morning of the test. Keep your mind sharp. Sick or injured, you need to reschedule the test. Bring pencils, pens, and erasers, and reading glasses. If you are going to be taking the paper test, you can request that. You need to go to a recruiter for it. It doesn't hurt to wear a watch. Don't bring a backpack or food or anything like that. They won't let you have it. Don't drink a lot before the test because you don't want to waste your time having to pee. And make sure you arrive at least 30 minutes early. That's what I got. So, bye.